The UK government, as most of us are aware, recently made one of the biggest changes in history to its immigration rules. And this, according to the House of Lords, was done with zero impact assessment, no public consultation, and no transparency. And according to them, this is inexcusable. So, if you're a migrant worker, an employer, or someone hoping to bring their family here, if you're in any capacity where you hold a visa that was affected by these immigration rules changes, what is coming next might shock you. So stay with me, because this isn't just about policy, it's about people's lives, jobs, and futures, and the warning signs have just begun. Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Evelyn. If you're seeing me for the very first time on this channel, I share immigration updates, share updates about working in the UK, living in the UK, and every other thing in between. So if this kind of content interests you, kindly hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss anything from this channel. Let's get right into it. So let's start from the top, okay? On the 1st of July, the Home Office released Statement of Changes HC 997, a legal document that is packed with some of the most sweeping reforms that we have seen in the skilled worker route. And summarily, what changed is that it raised the threshold for most skilled jobs to RQF level 6. So basically, that is degree level. The second is that it completely removed the social care sector from the list of eligible occupations, so care assistants, senior carers, and all of that. This group, we know, made thousands of recent visa grants. And the third is that it introduced the temporary shortage list, which replaced the shortage occupation list. And this list this time is much more smaller. And with all of this, about 180 jobs were affected and were no longer eligible to be sponsored from overseas. That wasn't a tweak, it was a clean sweep. And then two key Afghan resettlement schemes were closed in that same breath. But then that is not even the main issue. These changes triggered immediate concern, not just from immigrants, from employers and the parliament itself. So the House of Lords Secondary Legislation Scrutiny Committee, that is a group of senior lords who monitor how government decisions are implemented. This committee released a 20-page report that tore into the Home Office approach. They did not criticize this policy in itself directly. Instead, they slammed the process. And here is what they said. Given the important changes being made, the absence of an impact assessment means that the information provided is deficient and proper scrutiny of the instrument is impossible. This is especially concerning given our exchanges with the Home Office in the recent past on precisely this point. They went further, calling the situation inexplicable and inexcusable. Why? Because despite the size and the seriousness of these changes, the Home Office did not, number one, they did not consult the stakeholders. Number two, they did not publish any impact assessment. And number three, enough explanation was not given in their explanatory memorandum. So this isn't just paperwork, okay? When government policies aren't properly assessed, people suffer the consequences without warning. But let's look at the numbers that the lots eventually managed to extract. While no full impact report was released, some data hidden in an annex to the white paper gave a hint that raising the skills threshold to RQF level 6 will result in 17,000 fewer skilled worker applications, 22,000 fewer dependents, plus 7,000 fewer care visa grants per year. And that on its own is a projected 40% drop in skilled worker visas. That is almost half of all applicants gone. And no matter how you spin that, it is massive. The Lords were frustrated that this information was not shared upfront, and they said, these numbers provide a helpful, although incomplete, analysis of the policy and show the significance of the changes. For example, the Home Office expects a drop of around 40% in grants of skilled worker visas. However, the estimates were not included in the explanatory memorandum or even in the Home Office initial responses to our questions. This is both inexplicable and inexcusable. The more so as we have highlighted an almost identical situation in the past. So obviously something like this has happened before and Home Office has just done it again. The big question is why? So when pressed, the Home Office said they had to move fast to avoid a surge of visa applications before the rules kicked in, and because the policy was still being finalized till the last moment. They said that some analysis was done during the drafting of the white paper, but the full impact assessment report couldn't be ready in time. So the Minister for Migration and Citizenship, Seema Malhotra, in her letter to this committee said, and I quote, "While it would of course have been preferable to publish this further impact analysis upon laying, we were unable to do so due to some complexities in finalizing the relevant information. With all parliamentary preparations having been made for the rules changes, we felt that it was best to proceed with laying the rules as planned on 1st of July and then follow with the impact analysis as soon as possible thereafter. We acknowledge the committee's concerns and agree this approach should not be common practice." So you hear that, right? Now, the Lords didn't buy that. They just were not buying this explanation. And in their response, they said, this suggests that the measures in the statement were formed before their impact had been fully analyzed and understood, leading to a risk that the result may be different from what the department was expecting, a risk exacerbated by the lack of a consultation. This is a suboptimal way to make policy, and is a concern we have raised with the Home Office in the recent past. So they are repeating the fact that over and over again that they have always raised this concern with the Home Office, but things like this keep happening. Publishing a statement of change before an impact assessment was made. What does that tell you? Okay. If I would say in simple terms or simple English, the government made huge immigration changes without fully understanding the consequences of those changes. And like I said, the Lords have always pointed out that this is not the first time this is happening. This is not the first time this one is happening. So why are they repeating the same thing over and over again? Why are they not listening? That is not up to me to answer. One of the most worrying parts of this committee's report is that many key questions remain unanswered, like how will these changes affect sectors that are already facing shortages like the social care sector? What support, if any, is being offered to employers who can no longer employ certain categories of people who most likely made up a good number of their staff? Because raising salary threshold to a certain level just means that some of these employers will no longer be able to afford the staff required at the salary level that they can offer or they can afford to pay. And what happens to immigrants that were already planning their move? Even the explanatory memorandum of these changes actually used vague language, like saying the impact will be indirect. And in that regard, this committee pointed this out. They said, we consider these are likely to be significant economic effects, and we do not agree that they are indirect. Perhaps the greatest effects will be felt in the care sector, where the changes conflict with other pressures, such as the need to ensure adequate staffing and the reported high number of vacancies. These changes may therefore be especially controversial. You hear that? This report was published on the 29th of July 2025, and there have been correspondences back and forth from this committee to the Home Office and vice versa in this July. With that being said, the committee has given the Home Office a deadline. They've asked that the Home Office publish a full impact assessment by the 1st of September 2025, or they will consider calling the minister to give an oral evidence in Parliament. That is serious, and they are serious, and they mean business. Okay, they want answers, and they want these answers before the new rules complete their parliamentary process on September 16th. So where does this leave everyone? Immigrants, employers, families. It still leaves everyone uncertain. If you're watching this and you're either affected by these rules, or someone you love, a family member, is affected by these rules, you are not alone. These changes weren't just unclear, if we are being honest. They were introduced very quickly. And the House of Lords is calling for more transparency and accountability. Subscribe if you want to stay updated, because we'll be following the development in September very, very closely. And I will see you in my next video. Bye for now.